At the end of the Second World War, Admiral Chester Nimitz, Chief of Naval Operations, ordered the formation of a flight demonstration team. The team performed their first flight demonstration less than a year later and were named after a New York nightclub. By the end of the 1940s, the team was flying its first jet aircraft, the Grumman F-9F-2 Panther. Because there was a shortage of pilots for the Korean War, the team reported to the aircraft carrier USS Princeton as the nucleus of the 191st Fighter Squadron, Satan's Kittens, in 1950. Instead of thrilling, their mission was killing. In this case, a North Korean quad-mounted AAA. The Blue Angels were reorganized the next year in Corpus Christi, Texas, and began flying the newer and faster version of the Panther, the F-9F-5. Then relocated to their current home in Pensacola, Florida, and began flying the swept-wing Grumman F-9F Cougar. In the next 20 years, the Blue Angels moved to 2 more aircraft, starting with the Grumman F-11F-1 Tiger in 1957. This was the team's first supersonic fighter, and with an afterburner that was a real crowd pleaser. In 1969, the noise was cranked up even more when the team transitioned to F-4 Phantoms. The crowds loved it, but the Phantom required a lot of maintenance and a large support staff.
Our selection process guarantees us the top aviator and naval officer. We go to the Bureau for a screening, a fitness report screening. And I get a reading on the officer as to where he stands among all the applicants, where he stands among his contemporaries. And I start looking at him from there. Now, the Bureau would stop at that if they were going to, for instance, be considering him for his next rank or anything of that nature. We just get started there.
I was not selected the first year I applied. I was selected the second year, so it was, in fact, a year and a half of training. I think the main thing that's involved here, of course, is the fact that it's a position that we've all strived for very diligently, something that you look forward to, or at least want to have the opportunity to do it. And probably the most important thing is that it is a bunch of professionals working as a team. And I think this in itself instills within each of us the feeling of pride we have once we are, in fact, on the team. Our maintenance personnel, I'm sure, are the best in the world by far. We've had instances of an aircraft down from a broken engine, and they've been able to procure an engine from 1,000 miles away and have it put in within 8 to 12 hours, which is phenomenal by normal standards. So these maintenance people that we have, like the pilots themselves, are hand-picked. They work many, many long hours and do an outstanding job.
We feel there's a responsibility to show the people throughout the country what they're buying with their tax money. Not only in the training of the aviators, but also in the aircraft. And our emphasis has been, since I've had the team anyway, the emphasis has been on the small town over the big town. We're trying to get into the Midwest, trying to get into the northern Middle West states that never have an opportunity to see the Navy.
The precision maneuvers you will see demonstrated here this afternoon are coordinated tactical techniques developed in training and in actual combat by our Navy and Marine Corps pilots. In combat, these maneuvers might be flown from treetop level to 60,000 feet. But for the team, it is a continuous demonstration of their skill and training in a very low altitude environment. For none of these maneuvers are stunts or daring feats, but all are part of the stock and trade of our Navy and Marine Corps fighter pilots.
We advertise 36 inches from the leader's wingtip to the canopy of the wingman, and this, of course, is duplicated in the slot position. Both the wingman's wingtips are then approximately 36 inches from the canopy of the slot pilot.
I can feel it if somebody moves 3 inches. The balance is the thing that's most critical. If someone comes up and I start feeling it, and they can move out there plus or minus 3 to 6 inches and it doesn't bother me. If they come up, say, a foot flat, I immediately feel it. Sometimes on the line abreast, we wind up, well, if you get the wingtips about a foot apart, we start getting vortices off the other aircraft. And a lot of times you'll end up with 3/4 of the stick into the guy that slid in like that, because it just tends to push you away from it. Oh, I'd say it's a 16-hour day and a half hour's flight. You bet. You don't realize it till you're finished with the flight. Then you realize that you're totally exhausted. You just try to give, no matter what the size of the crowd, you try to give the best possible performance to every one of them.
The Naval Flight Demonstration Team was reorganized into the Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron in December 1974 and given fuel-efficient A4F Skyhawks to fly.
When we say we depend upon each other, we're not talking about just the pilots alone. We're talking about the maintenance personnel as well. The kind of flying that we do, we allow very, very little margin for error for the pilots, and we allow absolutely no margin of error for our maintenance technicians.
We're out there every day just like the pilots. We want to know that plane, every part in it from front to back, and we check it, and then we double check it. When we turn that aircraft over to them, we know it's right. We've got a tradition. An air show has never had to be canceled due to maintenance problems.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lieutenant John Patton, narrator for the United States Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron, the Blue Angel. For more than 60 years, the United States Navy has kept abreast of aviation technology by flying the most modern aircraft available from both land-based installations and aircraft carrier flight decks the world over. Spanning the last 27 years, a select group of naval aviators have had the opportunity to demonstrate the precision techniques of naval aviation to the public, hoping to inspire our young men and women to choose careers in the United States Navy. Now, if I may direct your attention to the ramp before us, I ask that you observe the manner in which the 6 demonstration pilots approach their aircraft, are saluted by their crew chiefs, and receive last-minute instructions on the status of their assigned aircraft. The precision maneuvers you will see demonstrated here this afternoon are coordinated tactical techniques developed in training and in actual combat by our Navy and Marine Corps pilots. In combat, these maneuvers might be flown from treetop level to 60,000 feet. But for the team, it is a continuous demonstration of their skill and training in a very low altitude environment. The aircraft you will see being flown here this afternoon is the McDonnell Douglas A4F Skyhawk, a single-seat light attack aircraft versions of which have been operational with the United States Navy and Marine Corps since 1955.
This is where all the hours of training pay off, when we can go up in the air and show what it's possible to achieve through teamwork and dedicated effort. I guess what we're ultimately trying to show is that high goals and high ideals are well worth pursuing. We try to give a flight demonstration that speaks for itself.
The A-4 lasted for 13 years. The Blue Angels completed their 40th anniversary year by returning to a frontline fighter, the twin-engine McDonnell Douglas FA-18 Hornet. It was good to be back on top.